growing up, you don't realize that there will come a time in your life when your relationship with your parents will kind of flip-flop. As you're getting older, your parents are getting older. My mother is now in her mid-80s. She's been divorced for decades. She lives alone, and I am her only living child. She's lost 3 children. My relationship with my mom has never been hunky-dory. There's always been some tensions and things, but I feel an obligation to, to be around her as much as I can, or to connect with her as I can. Well, she lives south of Baltimore, and as she's gotten older, once she retired from her job, her way of communicating has changed. You used to be able to talk about, oh, how was work today? Or, where did you drive that car she drove for a rental company? And, there were stories. Those stories have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller as time has gone on. And her desperation to connect has increased monumentally. My mother will call me 5 or 6 times a day. My cell phone rings while I'm at work, and she'll leave a message. Mina, it's your mother. Call me. An hour later, another message. Mina, it's your mother. Why haven't you called me? An hour later. Mina, it's your mother. I'm getting worried. Why don't you call me? And so when I get home at the end of the day, I'll call her and I say, Mom, is everything okay? I was at work. I can't talk on the phone at work. And she'd say, oh yeah, I just wanted you to know that I found some boiled peanuts in the grocery store today, and I bought 10 cans and wanted to know if you wanted some. Well, no, I don't want boiled peanuts, thank you very much. But this was that urgent thing that she had to connect with me about during the day. And I tried to tell her, I can't talk on the phone while I'm working. Well, it got to the point that she then began calling work. And she would get the main desk at work and say, this is Mina's mother. I haven't been able to talk to her all week. Can you put her on the phone? And they would transfer the call to me, worried that I hadn't connected with my mother. And, well, Mom, what is it you need? Well, they had tomatoes on sale at the grocery store this week, and I bought tomatoes and an ear of corn, and I'm going to have them for dinner tonight with a cake of cornbread. Okay, I really did not need to leave time off work for that conversation to happen. Now, since my brothers had passed, it had gotten worse, but her realm of experience was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And she would continue to do these calling all the time. And I finally said, we need to pull this together. We need to set some boundaries here, because I can't be on the phone with you all of the time. I will call you once a week on Saturday or Sunday, depending upon when I work. And we can talk then. You may call if there's an emergency, and I mean a real emergency. So when I pick up that phone, I know you really needed to talk to me. Most of the time, she did pretty good. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting at lunch with my daughter, and we were talking, and my phone rang, and I saw it was my mother, and I sort of made the mistake of picking it up. And actually, she had a couple of things to talk about that day. She wanted to talk about, she was beginning to plan some for when she passes, and needed some information for insurance forms and things. And that was brought on by the fact that my brother had just passed and had no information left behind. And then she started talking about my nephew and how wonderful he's been and how good he's been to her and how good he was to my brother. And I'm sitting there shaking my head, because I know that a year ago she called him every name in the book. He was the worst kid in the world. He wasn't doing anything right. And I knew that the only reason he was with my brother when he passed is because he was on house arrest and couldn't be at his house, so he was living at my brother's house. Okay, so we were going on, and finally, we hang up, I thought, and I talked to my daughter, and she says, well, what was that all about? And I said, well, she's wanting information. She's preparing some documents and things, which is a good thing. But she was going on and on about how wonderful my nephew was. And she just doesn't understand. At this point, he's using her, trying to get in tight with her. And, that the only reason he was there was because my brother, that he had to be because of the situation. And about 20 minutes later, the phone rang. And I looked, and it was my mother. Hi, Mom, what do you need? Mina, it's your mother. Next time you're going to talk about me, make sure you hang the phone up first.